Hi, my name is Sam Payne. I'm a wood turner from Omaha, Nebraska, and today we're going to take a look at how to make up a Christmas tree ornament. Looks a lot like this. It is a 3-part ornament. There's a cap up on top, I have a body, and then there's a finial that runs off the bottom here. I like ours out of some Kingwood. This is from a wood from South America. And then I really like to go with the contrast, so I'm going to also stick with that Birdseye Maple. So you'll have a dark wood and a light wood. Alright, to start with, I've got this on the chuck now, and it's not going to hit the tool rest. So to get it round, I just like to use a roughing gouge. So let me pull down my light so I can see it a little bit better, and this should be round in no time. Let's turn that off and take a look. You can really start to see the colors of the grain running in there. You get a lot of variation in this Kingwood. Now we're going to think about making it round. I'm going to switch over to a spindle gouge. This is just a 3/8 inch. It's got a nice little round tip on it. I'm going to move my tool rest up, and I think I'm just going to look for kind of a round beaded shape, maybe a little bit of an oval, something that's just kind of pleasing to the eye. So I'll start taking care of that. I usually do the bottom first, so start about here and kind of creep up on that bead. That looks okay for the bottom. Now I'm going to start working on the top of it. Give it a little bit of visual interest. We'll put a shoulder here. We'll put a shoulder at the other end. And I'm going to put a little V-groove right in the middle of it. And just taking a look, the body looks pretty good. I'll do a little bit of touching up on it, and then it'll be ready for some sanding. Okay, well, I've got a nice shape to it. I kind of cleaned up a little bit on the shoulders and in that V-groove, but now to really clean it up and get it ready for some finishing, we're going to sand it. I started about 150. I've got a pretty decent look to it, and this will clean up any of the tear out. I'll run some 150, some 220, and then some 320 in there as well. So to do that, I'm going to turn on my dust collector here. Okay, take care. We have completed the sanding on it. Took it down to 320. You really get a lot of that grain running through there. On both sides, you have a cathedral, and then you have straight grain running right there. Let's clean it up and get some polish on there. Alright, I'm going to clean it up. I just use mineral spirits to do that. I'll clean it and I'll dry it, and then we'll put a little bit of friction polish on it to really give it a nice lustrous shine. Put a little bit friction polish on. First thing I'll do is I'll just give it a quick dry. And then on with the polish. Friction polish is a type of shellac that when you put it on a spinning object that's going pretty fast, mine is going right now at about 2600 RPM. It bakes on that finish and it turns crystal clear and rock hard. First thing I'll do is I'll turn it off and apply a little bit by hand. Make sure we get into that V groove. Okay. Turn it on and bake it. Alright, as you can see, I brought up my tailstock. I have a live center in there right now too. And I've also put in that piece of Birdseye. This is about a 6-inch piece. We're going to get 2 chunks out of it. We're going to get the finial from about right there and the cap right about there. It's not going to matter altogether that much where it is. So let's kind of see what's going to happen here. Let me get this tightened up a little bit. That's looking good. Tailstock's in there tight. You can see it's a little bit out of balance. We'll take care of that with the roughing gouge. That won't take long at all. It's time to take this piece of Birdseye and give it a little bit of a finial look to it. Looks kind of like an icicle, and everything I do, I just kind of do it by eye. Like I like to say, find a nice pleasing shape. And so like this one, it's got a little icicle at the end, a nice little long stretch, and then a tiny cove where it attaches to the bottom of the body. So I'm going to use a spindle gouge. We'll start kind of shaping this out and see how it looks.
I'm going to back the tailstock off right about now, and you're going to hear the wood groaning. That's just because it's extended far away from the head of the lathe, and it's a little bit of stress inside of it.
The finish on there is nice. I'm just going to start right at 220 with my sanding and do 320 as well. Pull out a little piece here from my baggie. Okay, we've got the beginning of our icicle. Now onto the body. I'm going to stop it, right around there. We'll kind of see how this works from here. Okay, pretty nice shape for that finial. I'm going to go ahead and sand it like I did on the other part, and we'll finish it as well. Then we're going to work on the attachment where it will fit onto the body. We'll get to there in just a minute or two. Alright, my next step is I'm going to go back to my body here, and I've got the bottom here where the finial is going to fit in there. And I'm going to measure this little flat area that I put on there with the parting tool before I took it off. And I'm just going to line up my calipers and eye it. Doesn't matter that much. It's not going to have to be an exact fit. I'm not a machinist. And I'm going to use a parting tool then to get my finial down to this same dimension.
The flat part will go ahead and sit right against the bottom of the body.
In order to make it so this finial fits inside the body here, I'm going to grab, I've got a little hole that's all the way through there. I need to turn a tenon onto the finial. In order to do that, I'll use a parting tool. But I got to measure this hole. The easiest way to measure the hole is to actually use the drill bit. So I grab my calipers, just grab the shank there so I don't have to worry about getting in any of the flutes. I like to open it up just a smidge. There we go. So I can put the drill bit down, and now I'm going to grab my parting tool and get a tenon cut onto the end. Now we're going to part that off. This is going to fit right inside the end with any bit of luck.
Now we're working on the cap for the ornament. It's just going to be shaping it with that spindle gouge and getting a nice pleasing look to it. And that'll fit right against the top.
One step to go. We're going to replace the live center here in the tailstock with a drill chuck, because we're going to put a little tiny hole there in the end, and this will automatically center it up. I've got a 1/16 inch drill bit in there. Bring up the tailstock pretty close, lock it down, put a hole. We've got the cap here, and it's ready to go right up into the top of the body. It just gets pressed right in place like that. And just like that, we've got a nice Birdseye Maple and Kingwood Christmas tree ornament. All that's left to do is put the eyelet in and hang it up. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you around.